Hello, investigators and interlocutors. My name is TV Sky, and welcome back to The Great Ace Attorney, which is a name that has to be shouted, I have decided, so I'm going to keep doing it until I get bored of it, I guess. Anyway, we have finally been freed from the confines of this cabin to continue our investigation elsewhere. So that's what we're going to do. Ninth of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Burya, first class cabin passageway. I should probably skip that text faster a little bit. I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Really? Well, that must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down.
The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodations. I suppose he's making sure no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose, like people in handcuffs.
Naruto-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
It must have been a very trying time for you.
Please don't give me that pitying look. I know what I want to start with. Mousetrap.
Ah, a trap for catching mice.
Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be looking at using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it, Naruto-san. The trap will snap shut in your fingers.
Really? But, I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
Well, all I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
First class cabin number 1. Yeah, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home.
These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way.
500 and... How many cabins are there? Many. It's a big ocean liner. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm. It says press...
it says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop. This ship included.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
Oh, excuse me? We, need to get inside this cabin here. Oh, this sailor's eye speaks volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. Okay, is we done out here? Yes. This looks like a plan of the SS Borea. It shows each deck, look. The Borea is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Displacement, man, it's a powerful thing. Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That is... oh, that's the creation... well, one of the creation myths of the Shinto faiths. I'm reasonably sure they probably have more than one, but one of the ones I know is that... was it Izanami or Izanagi? One of the two. Is the primordial creator gods, husband and wife. And the husband dips the tip of his spear into the ocean and pulls it out. And where the droplets dripping off from the spear fall into the water, that's where the islands of Japan are created. Hence, the shape of the archipelago. I think that's one of the creation myths anyway. So it's this idea of like that they are these little things floating on the water. That's a huge book on top of the table there. And there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Oh, the writing's so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report? Hello. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. Let me see if I can... You little stowaway murderer. No, I can't really do a Russian accent when I'm trying to do that voice. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Sasato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I'm Senior Crewman Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff? I mean, he is beef. Like, that's definitely true. Yeah. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Borea steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. Maybe you shouldn't, if traveling in secret, maybe you shouldn't say, okay. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I'll let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da!
I think that's da. Sasada-san? Sasada-san? Did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. No, that's niet. Genius.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time. I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business.
I like him. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff?
Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Niet.
I think that's niet. Sasada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no.
Sorry. I'm not so sure. Could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh,
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
yes, yeah, all right.
Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on top of mountain, or as English say, when the peaks fly.
Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Let's check this door. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Well, he's not here now, so... Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk and running away. There's no way I could run while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Wait, does this change after he's gone? It does. It's because the little thing about him, like, oh, he might appreciate a compliment thing, is gone, which means... Hello there. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-san wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries, rather. How annoying. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. Oh, I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. No, it doesn't. Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. What, pray, can I kick? 9th January, SS Buria, first class cabin number 2. Dog, who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman, don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me, and you are... I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No! I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? Huh, I do not trust detectives! We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might it be as so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? Well, don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! The case just shook. Leave! No! Otherwise, I'll call the steward! So, this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Of course he's over there. Well, isn't that interesting? They're all fallen over in exactly the same way. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out! Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? Nah! What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. This is just immediately in dumbest place. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come! Am I mistaken? No, actually, you're spot on for once.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Rolot, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness?
That's okay. I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right. And Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence.
What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now.
Huh?
There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What? What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not?
Huh?
And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Ugh!
Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never believed we will witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes.
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What? What ineffable twaddle.
You got all British there all of a sudden, Naruhodo.
Oh, yes, I've read about it countless times in The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right? Oh, you see, because I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here. So, remember that escaped ballerina? What? Yeah, and then shears about to sever the life of something most dear, huh?
Huh.
How could you?
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well, then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So, do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together.
The game is afoot. Of course it is. Old man's identity.
So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously. What catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you decide to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front page article, which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary.
Well, see, half right.
In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard.
This is so fucking stylish. This is like Persona stylish almost.
Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand.
Okay.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see.
Ah!
And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse!
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd!
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil. Coup d'oeil?
What? Its eyes, oil? Whatever.
Betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equally found in the pages of the newspaper. But there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Nova Age Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Right. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky.
Sasato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
The stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment?
Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's this newspaper article. I think we've had the same discussion before, but These two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes. I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe, I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Shums, Mr. Roylott does look a lot more like this man than you do.
That's not the point.
And another thing, the part about him abducting...
Oh, that was not Holmes. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina?
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years' worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness of their bodies.
Vinegar?
For such a sour brunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Or such a sour bunch, rather.
Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Shums.
This whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Shums' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seemed a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato.
It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Huh. Switch some keywords in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Shums' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind.
This man is a lot of work.
At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
It's not that funny.
Ah, and you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists?
Where are your handcuffs?
Huh? How did...
I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Shums, you're a marvel.
And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Here we go again.
So, we're cross-examining him, are we? So, the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place.
So we're replaying the scene, basically. Okay. Is the enormous... Okay, so I'll just talk through this quickly without doing the voices. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand? Now we ask ourselves, what could possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Nope.
Huh? I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though.
It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either.
Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong.
Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters.
All right, but how?
I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on.
Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better...
Then what?
Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the one to do something about this?
Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence.
What exactly was Mr. Royalot really going to use those enormous shears for? I think maybe that?
Yes!
I get to do the dance now. Okay, I get it. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair,
one still very much in her youth.
Oh no. If I'd only managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected.
The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter.
okay, I'll do the voice. It's more fun that way.
I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolution. Oh, no.
Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly dancing. Yes, I know.
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true, given that Mr. Royalot is actually a woman.
Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole is taking a different direction now.
Yeah.
Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. All right, I'll do my best.
Yes!
That one was pretty clear. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear that we're finally able to address you by your true name.
Yeah, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina.
Yeah, he is having fun. This is fun. Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
I mean, the poor girl. What she mustn't be fleeing from.
You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone.
Solved. Now for the wrongdoing. Yes.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth.
I mean, doing the lines twice is a bit silly, but on the other hand, I also like it.
The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling here.
This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well.
No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime that this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again.
You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Schultz?
Yes, he does!
Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to.
Well... Yeah, tiara. Can I target it, please? There it is.
Wow, look at this dazzling tiara.
I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Naruhodo-san, try it on.
What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on?
Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful.
Why does this tiara look familiar?
I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
We just point to the tiara, I guess.
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft.
Oh no!
Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you.
I have no one. No family, no friends. I'm all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely.
All right, I will tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now.
Come, let us not be hasty.
What?
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless... Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. Wow! He's completely changed tack with his deduction now.
I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you?
Well, maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would be written on a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree. That's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase.
Well, books on the shelf. I see. I think I'm gonna take a gamble on this one.
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage, a pet. This is adorable. I love this. Oh, tell me I get to do that a lot. It's a lot of voice work, but worth it. So, clearly you aren't who you said you were.
No, I am not Grimsby Roylet. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Boreas is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. Sholmes, don't be like that. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell, why? None other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? So no one will recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man. I see. I put on the fear hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened. I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If Captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew...
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night.
Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction?
It was certainly something, yeah. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah,
And one more thing.
Oh, yeah, what?
Observe your wrists.
My...
Oh, your hands are cuffed again.
What? Oh, but how?
True to my word, I've restored your shackles.
When and why?
There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment.
Can't it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band was that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary.
Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died, he was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people stopped talking? Or people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I'd done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
Yes, I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget. A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me.
By the way, any Russians who happen to watch any of these videos, I apologize for this cartoon accent. It's the only one I got. Sorry.
So, you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Well, yes. Of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but, Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course, yeah. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business. Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel.
Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact.
Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova's gonna tell us what really happened. So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell! Don't tell any of the crew! If they found my precious...
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt.
So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it?
Maybe an adorable little rabbit?
Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rapids, do you?
Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then?
You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken.
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and, when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance.
So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that.
No. Yeah, no. I think... Big Snake. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed.
She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure. Oh, maybe the word. Yeah, no, okay. That was a crap shot.
This is a diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary?
Yes. And he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then, a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m., what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Speckled band? I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other
words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything.
Oh.
Excuse me, Mr. Royland.
Yes, what? Wow, she's fast.
Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please.
All right, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us.
Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott.
Get out!
The passengers sit out, or do you want me to throw you out?
Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later.
What a pity.
Some important information there, though.
And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That's to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. And that seems like a perfectly decent place to cut an episode, don't you think? So, if you have enjoyed watching me do the dance of deduction with Mr. Sherlock Holmes, you can hit the like, comment, and or subscribe buttons down below. Helpful buttons, because algorithm things make number go up, which is good. Also, it's sort of just like, it lets you know when there's new episodes in case you want to watch another one. You know, which I hope you do. And if you do, memberships are available on this channel, and they unlock the ability to get early access to episodes of this series, as well as anything else I upload on the channel. So if you want to check, you can check the playlist of this series and check if there's any videos there that you can unlock with memberships. And if you want to, you can use them to do that thing and see more stuff. But if you don't want to, then you absolutely do not have to. Thank you for watching the video. Remember to wear a mask still, wash your hands, take the vaccine when it becomes available to you, or whichever vaccines we're going to need to take to deal with the frickin' Delta variant, and try to act with solidarity towards those who are working to make the world a better place.